What's up everyone? We are back and today we're making a dessert that never fails to impress. I'm talking about baked Alaska. Ice cream, cake, meringue, what's not to love? Let's get right into this. I'm going to use this silicone half-cylinder mold today. If you want to pick one of these up, I'll link in the description. If you don't have one of these, you can use a loaf pan but line it with parchment paper, or you can put your ice cream directly into the parchment paper and shape it however you like. So let's get our ice cream in here. I'm using a regular vanilla ice cream. You can mix and match any flavors you want. Just make sure you push everything down. We don't want any gaps in our ice cream. In the freezer, let it get set. Alright, our ice cream is set for 15 minutes. And now we're going to make a well so we could add our second flavor, which is going to be orange sherbet. So it's going to create like an orange creamsicle flavor. And then again, you could use any flavor combinations you want. A raspberry sorbet works really well with this. A chocolate ice cream with a mint filling works nicely. Whatever flavors you prefer. Cover this up and let it set again. Okay, it's been another 15 minutes and now we could add our filling. Now I left the filling out to defrost a little bit while our ice cream is setting so it's a little bit easier to get out. So cover one more time. And now that our ice cream is finished, we want to let this set at least overnight so it completely sets and we could easily remove it from our mold. In the meantime, we'll make our sponge cake. So now we can start to make our cake mixture. And this is a French sponge cake that'll have flexibility so it'll be able to wrap around our ice cream base nicely. We're going to start by making a meringue. 4 room temperature egg whites. An 1/8 of a teaspoon of cream of tartar. That's going to help stabilize our meringue. If you don't have this, you could have a lemon and rub the bowl with it, and that'll work just as well. We'll whisk this to soft peaks. And now with the mixer running, we'll gradually add our 1/4 cup of sugar. So our meringue is at stiff peaks. We'll set it aside. For our sponge cake, 4 whole eggs, 2 cups of almond flour, 2 cups of powdered sugar, and 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour. And we want to mix this on high for at least 5 minutes. It's been 5 minutes and now we could fold our meringue into the mixture. We'll start with 1/3. Fold that in. And I have my oven preheated to 450 degrees convection, and that's going to take about 10 minutes. If you're not using convection, it'll take about 15 minutes. And you really want to keep an eye on it. You don't want to overbake this because it'll lose its flexibility. And now we'll fold in our remaining meringue. And we'll add 2 tablespoons of melted butter. I have a sheet tray lined with parchment paper and generously sprayed with non-stick spray. We'll get our batter on that. We'll take a spatula and even it out best we can. go in the oven. And you can see we have some nice even browning on top. Don't forget, as it sits, as it rests to room temperature, it's going to continue cooking. And then once it's completely cooled to room temperature, we'll wrap it in plastic wrap and refrigerate it overnight. So we cooked our French sponge cake, let it rest to room temperature, wrapped it in plastic wrap, and let it sit overnight. I have our ice cream base that we sat overnight as well, so that's nice and set. At this point, you want to think about what you're going to serve your baked Alaska on. So we could remove our ice cream base, gently push it out. Put that in the freezer while we cut our sponge cake. So we'll carefully flip this over onto our board. Take off the parchment paper. I like to use a pizza cutter to cut this. So now there's a bit of math involved, so I wouldn't be surprised if I messed this up. We want our ice cream to rest on our sponge cake, but we want the sides of the sponge cake to come out a bit. And the reason for that is we're going to lay our top layer of sponge cake and we want it to meet our bottom layer of sponge cake, so our ice cream is completely enclosed in our cake. So the measurements for our mold is 4 inches by 10 inches, and that'll give us some room on the bottom. So I like to measure it, and then I'll just gently score our sponge cake. So I have a line, if you could see that. So our length was just above 10 inches, so that's fine. If you have a little extra, it's better than being short. So our top piece is going to be 7.5 inches by 10 inches. So I scored that here. So now let's cut that and put it on our ice cream. So we'll cut our base. And our top piece. And we want to put our base on whatever we're going to be serving our baked Alaska on, because after this, we don't want to move it anymore because the cake is delicate. So we'll place our ice cream on top. And our top piece. So we wrapped our ice cream with the top piece. Now it's enclosed. If you have a little bit of cracking, don't worry about it. It's all going to be covered in meringue, an Italian meringue, which we're going to make right now. So let's put this in the freezer to let it set. So we're going to get our Italian meringue going. I have 5 egg whites, 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar, and I use these dehydrated powdered egg whites. I feel like they're a bit more stable. And just add 1 tablespoon of egg white powder and 3 tablespoons of water equals 1 large egg white. So I find that the powdered egg whites stay a little bit more stable, and since we're using an Italian meringue, which we're going to cook our simple syrup, I have a cup of sugar, 1/3 of a cup of water, and we're going to bring this to 225 to 230 degrees Fahrenheit. So let's get this going. Also, whenever you're boiling sugar and water, keep a lid on your pan, and that'll keep the steam inside, and it'll keep the sides clean so your sugar will not crystallize. Vanilla extract, add a tablespoon. So let's check on our sugar. So for a thermometer, you really need a thermometer here. If you have a candy thermometer, that works. Yeah, we're ready. Turn up the speed, and we're going to slowly drizzle in our simple syrup. So you want to whip this until your bowl feels cool. You no longer feel the heat from the syrup. And it feels cool, so let's take this off and let's finish off our baked Alaska. All right, so we're ready to cover our baked Alaska with meringue. So first we're going to just cover it with our meringue. We're going to finish by piping a design. So I have this tip in a pastry bag. This is optional. You could just put more meringue. You could use a different pastry tip. You could have fun with it, any design you want. And now to finish it off, we're going to torch it. You can get one of these handheld torches. If you don't have one of these, you could set your oven to 425 degrees, put it in there for just a couple of minutes. Or you could flambe your favorite liqueur like a Grand Marnier, cognac, brandy, and you could spoon it over the top. That's always really nice presentation when it's all done. So let's torch this up. You always want to keep your torch moving because you want it nice and bruleed, not burned. So there it is, baked Alaska. Please subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, like the video. Let me know down in the comments if you want to see other desserts like this or any other specific dishes. We'll be happy to make a video on them. Thanks for watching.